So we're trying to get to a position where, as a legislature, we will be able to pass some bills that restrict abortion here in Tennessee. So it's been a, I don't know, 10-year process. Frank maybe can more speak to it. Frank was, I'm sure, part of the people that were maybe fighting this a lot more than I was back in the years, back in the days before I got there. One of the big things, again, the governor had on his agenda was education reform, and we were able to pass a number of reforms that can help our education. Some of those had to do with the expanded school choice, and that had to do with charter schools and virtual schools. If Steve Sullivan were here, he would tell you he has been a pioneer and a sort of a point person for virtual schools for some time here in Tennessee, and we're seeing that more and more an option for students. We voted and we passed the legislation that will put teachers and administrators in control of schools, and what that was is ending the collective bargaining. A very controversial bill that passed this year, but I think something that's going to make us much more competitive in the education area. And then the last thing was on teacher tenure. With teacher tenure before, if you just were at a school for 3 years, I think it was, then you were granted tenure. That's all it took. You just had to be there long enough and you got tenure. Well, the governor wanted to change that, and we worked with him in changing tenure so that it becomes more meaningful. You have to not only be there, you have to be there 5 years now, but you also have to be in the top 2 tier of teacher performance. So it's tied to your performance to be able to get tenure. And once you get tenure, if you drop below the top and the bottom 2, then you can lose your tenure. So it'll make tenure mean something, and it won't be something that just people can get and then teach or do whatever they want to after that point. Next year, some of the things that I really hope to be a part of, again, we can continue the work in our immigration reform. There's 2 areas of that we did not pass this time. One was in the social services, which means for the adults, those who are 18 and over, would not be available to get social services from the state of Tennessee unless they could prove that they're here legally. As you know, right now, a lot of our social services are being sucked up by illegal immigrants, and though we're not going to really try to tackle those and take it away from children, we are going to be focusing on adults and make sure that they belong here, they're here legally before they get any kind of state social services. And the other section of that is on enforcement. And this goes back to what you probably hear a lot of from Arizona. Again, if a police stop someone and they have to be able to show that they're illegally, if they're suspicious that they're not here legally, then they would have to show that, or they would detain them. That's the other part of the immigration bill that we hope to pass this next year. One of the things I hope that we can work on is our income begins to improve in the state. As you know, things have been very difficult. We've had to cut the budget back over these last few years. But as things begin to improve and our income begins to increase, I'm hoping we can continue to look at tax reductions. This year we did a small reduction for senior adults on the Hall's income tax, and I'm hoping in the coming years, as opposed to just restoring the spending that we cut, that we'll find ways to cut taxes. So some of those in the Hall's income tax, maybe tax on groceries, would be another area that I would be interested in looking at being able to cut taxes here in Tennessee. I think the biggest challenge that we have this next year, and it's something that's been worked on for a long time, has to do with our road fund. Tennessee roads, as you know, it's important to keep up your infrastructure in your state. Our Tennessee road fund is much based off the tax off of gasoline. I don't know how much you're familiar. I was totally in left field about this. I didn't know anything about it before I got there this year. I serve on the transportation committee, so I've learned a lot this last year on the transportation side. But our gas tax it was set, I think it was 85. Is that right, or is it 78? I couldn't remember. You remember, Frank?
It was about 90 or 91.
Okay, 991. So the tax was set and has not been changed, and it's not based off of, a percentage. It's just based off of how many percents per gallon. Well, what has gas done since 1990? It's gone up tremendously. What's road construction cost done since 1990? Gone up. Well, our fund has not gone up at all because we still get the same, I don't know if it's 14 cents or what it is, per gallon of gas. That's all we get for that. So our road construction is suffering because of that. We've got to find a solution to be able to take care of our roads. So that's going to be a big challenge this next year. The Transportation Committee is going to be looking at. And if you have any suggestions, I'd be very much interested in taking those back to our committee. Some of the federal issues, I'm just going to speak on those, so I don't have anything to do with that. Many people ask me, I get emails many times during the session about federal issues, and unfortunately I can't do anything much about the federal issues. I can always send them to our Congressman Phil Rowe, but beyond that, that's about it. But one of the things I hope to be able to do this next year, one of the things that I ran on and I talked about during the campaign was the need for a constitutional amendment to balance our budget, our federal budget. I'm glad that Tennessee has that as a part of our Constitution. Well, I really didn't think like that was going to be even possible. Didn't really have any traction. But now we're seeing that the traction is beginning to grow on it. We're seeing people talking about that in Washington. So I'm really hoping that maybe we can get an amendment passed out of Congress for a constitutional amendment, and each state would ratify that. I'm hoping maybe this next year or the year after that, if I'm reelected, we'll be able to vote on the ratification of that constitutional amendment towards our federal government to balance their budget. Because our debt it's killing this nation. And it's really something I know that you're concerned about and I'm concerned about. We've got to do something to fix. The other federal issues that I really hope to make a difference on, and again, this is a nonpartisan group. I'm partisan, I'm sorry. I'm not going to make any apologies for that, I guess. But I am partisan. And one of my goals this next year is to make Obama a one-term president. Okay, so I will say the most enjoyable part, in closing here, the most enjoyable part of serving as a state representative is the ability to help people. That's really not something that I really understood, I don't think, as well when I ran for this office, and as I got there. I didn't realize what a great opportunity as a representative I've had to help people. We get calls, we get emails every week, people having problems with state government, whether it has to do with mental health or unemployment insurance or a road or whatever. But it's the ability, it ought not work this way. It shouldn't take a call from me to get something done. But time after time after time, people give me a call and say, I've been working on this for a year with this department and I can't get anything done. I said, okay, I'll look into it. And we'll call over there and talk to the department. And within 3 days, the problem is fixed. And they've been working on it for a year. I don't understand why that has to work that way. But it's great to be able to be there, to be able to serve the people. I remember one family that had called me about the father of one of the couple, and he was losing his ability to be able to manage himself, but it wasn't at that point yet quite to the point where they wanted to get the power of attorney. But they were really concerned about him. He was out wandering the streets and all this stuff, and they, what can we do to help? So we got involved and talked to the mental health department, and again, there's a limited amount what you can do, but just that little bit that we did encouraged the mental health department to make contact and to talk to this man, and said some of the same things that the family had been saying to him, and it made a difference. And he agreed to go into a home, and she wrote me a letter and said that, in some small way, I may have saved his life by getting him off the street. And to know just that I've done just a little bit to help families like that, it's very, very gratifying. And I just appreciate the opportunity, and I thank this group. I know many of the people in this group here today assisted and helped me in my campaign and encouraged others when I was running. And I thank you for helping me, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve you as your state representative.
Questions?
When are you going to have questions?
Now, how about that? Okay. Questions? I think people would rather have questions now while they're fresh on your mind.
Okay. You just keep in
I
mind.
have a question.
Yeah.
Can we go back just a second and revisit this Sharia law thing?
Yeah.
You